With the release of 1.2, we now have our second top tier sub DPS in the game, being Zhezhi, which I know a lot of players have been looking forward to. However, some players may already have Yinlin and wouldn't be so sure on whether it's worth having both Yinlin and Zhezhi on their account, or unsure whether they should wait for Yinlin's rerun banner over summoning for Zhezhi. Both are definitely god tier sub DPS characters without question, so of course there will be some conflict on who would exactly provide more value. So with that, I'll be going over the value of both characters, diving into some of their kit standouts, their team flexibility and synergies, and ultimately, who would be considered as the current best sub DPS. Just before we jump into it, would really appreciate it if you could subscribe to the channel for more WutheringWaves content and drop a like if you enjoyed the video. Now going over some of Zhezhi's kit standouts. Zhezhi is a Glacial sub DPS character and is able to deal considerable damage along with providing a ton of support. Zhezhi's forte circuit revolves around obtaining stacks of Afflatus, which can be gained through dealing basic attacks or the intro skill. The max stacks of Afflatus is 90, and once you have reached 60 stacks and above, Zhezhi is able to cast up to 3 phantasmic imprints around the enemy, which allow her to blink to, and with each blink, the enemy will receive glacial damage considered as basic attack damage, and her basic attack damage bonus will increase by up to a max of 54%. So Zhezhi would be the third character that can sort of engage in aerial combat, since she is able to cast a phantasmic imprint in mid-air and blink to each one whilst dealing damage. Now, one of the main aspects of Zhezhi's kit would be her outro skill, which will increase glacial damage bonus by 20% and resonant skill damage bonus by 25% for the resonator switching in. Now, this outro skill is slightly different to Yinlin and Changli's outro skills, since Zhezhi is buffing resonant skill damage opposed to resonant liberation damage. So it means Zhezhi would just be much better for DPS characters that focus on dealing resonant skill damage, such as Jianxin and Changli. Of course, the 38% resonant skill damage bonus provided by Taoqi would be better for screenshot damage, but overall, Zhezhi would be the better sub DPS, especially with Glacial DPS characters that will utilize Zhezhi's entire outro skill. Now, the outro skill becomes even better due to Zhezhi's inherent skill, which restores 15 resonance energy for the resonator switching in. So along with buffing resonant skill damage bonus and glacial damage bonus, Zhezhi would provide resonance energy, which enables the main DPS to ult more often, which makes the outro skill even more valuable and possibly the most valuable outro skill in the game. Now, another massive aspect of Zhezhi's kit would be her resonance liberation, as on activation, Zhezhi will deal glacial coordinated attacks lasting for 30 seconds or when all 21 spirit attacks have been dealt. So the ability to deal off-field damage makes Zhezhi an amazing sub DPS, since it provides your main DPS with much more field time. Now, I'll quickly go over Yinlin's kit standouts, as most of you likely know what she is already capable of. Yinlin, being an Electro sub DPS character, is able to deal great damage along with providing a ton of support. Yinlin's forte gauge is filled up as she attacks enemies, and once it's full, she launches a massive AoE attack that applies the punishment mark to the enemies that would already have the Sinner's mark. With the punishment mark applied, Yinlin will deal electro coordinated attacks for 18 seconds. So just like Zhezhi, Yinlin would be dealing damage off field, which will provide the main DPS with plenty of field time. Another huge aspect of Yinlin's kit would be the outro skill, which can increase electro damage bonus by 20% and resonance liberation damage bonus by 25%. Now, this outro skill alone just holds a ton of value, since not only will she be able to support many future electro characters, but even characters that specialize in dealing resonance liberation damage, which makes her an extremely flexible character. Lastly, the resonance liberation deals a great amount of burst damage, which means you can definitely rely on Yinlin to deal explosive damage when you are quick swapping her in. That being said, Yinlin is capable of playing exactly as your main DPS would like, since her rotations allow her to be great at quick swapping and her coordinated attacks allow the main DPS to stay on the field for long periods of time, meaning she has quite a flexible playstyle. Now, with the kit standouts out of the way, going into team flexibility and synergies of both Yinlin and Zhezhi will be important, as it's where we really can see who would be the most valuable sub DPS as of now. I won't go into every team synergy, since both Zhezhi and Yinlin naturally would be able to synergize with nearly every character in the game. So in regards to Zhezhi, she will specialize in playing alongside Glacial DPS characters, which is only Yangyang for now, and characters such as Changli and Jinxin, due to both characters dealing damage aside from the resonant skill that scale on resonant skill damage. With Yangyang, he hasn't really been a great DPS character since release, but there are some players that do enjoy playing with him. So Zhezhi being able to increase his glacial damage damage bonus and resonant skill damage bonus will be an immense buff towards his damage. Also, if you are considering the signature weapon that provides a massive 52% increase in basic attack damage bonus, it has another massive impact on Yangyang's performance. So Zhezhi and her signature weapon is somewhat of a must if you're a Yangyang main. Now with Jinxi, her hardest hitting ability being the final form resonant skill does scale on resonant skill damage, so any addition towards resonant skill damage will be immensely valuable. As for Changli, her massive burst of damage she deals when a forte gauge is filled along with her attacks whilst in true sight scale on resonant skill damage, so she will also greatly benefit from Zhezhi's outro skill. Now without a doubt, Jinxi is considered as the best main DPS in the game due to the explosive damage she is able to deal, and Changli is arguably second place or third under Jiyan. So the fact that Zhezhi is the best in slot sub DPS for the best main DPS in the game and arguably the second best, really carries her value above and beyond, since majority of players either have Jinxi or Changli or both. And so if you want to see the best performance possible from these characters, Zhezhi would definitely be the most valuable sub DPS. Now for Yinlin's team synergies, Yinlin would specialize in supporting electro characters or characters that focus on dealing resonance liberation damage. However, the only electro main DPS in the game is Calcharo, and in comparison to Changli and Jinxi is significantly worse. Then as for characters that focus on resonance liberation damage, you have characters like Rover, which is a good DPS overall, and Jinxi that actually has the hardest hitting resonance liberation in the game. But due to her most powerful ability being the resonance skill, it would make more sense to pair her with Zhezhi. Also, up until now, Yinlin has arguably been the best sub DPS for Jinxi due to the coordinated attacks and boost in liberation damage. But now with Zhezhi's release, Zhezhi will replace Yinlin as the best sub DPS for Jinxi. However, it doesn't necessarily mean Yinlin is now terrible for Jinxi, but just means there is a clear new best in slot support for Jinxi. Now that aside, we do know Zhang Liao will be releasing in 3 weeks and is going to be a free character for every player. We also know that Zhang Liao is likely going to be a much better character than Calcharo and will be a resonance liberation damage scaler, which means Yinlin will now have a new best in slot position since she can boost Zhang Liao's electro damage and resonance liberation damage. But we will need to wait to see how great Zhang Liao will be exactly and where he ranks amongst the other main DPS characters. Personally, I do believe Zhang Liao will be up there but wouldn't crack into the top 3, as it would be a big ask to surpass either Changli or Jiyan. Regardless, Yinlin's value will jump with Zhang Liao's release, but due to Zhezhi being the best in slot for both Jinxi and Changli, she is going to still remain as the current best sub DPS. Now as for both Yinlin and Zhezhi's team flexibility, the ability to increase electro damage bonus and resonance liberation damage bonus opposed to an increase in glacier damage bonus and resonance skill damage bonus, and I guess a small amount of resonance energy too from the inherent skill, means that they are both somewhat equal in flexibility, since Yinlin will cater towards 2 completely different types of characters and so will Zhezhi. However, I do believe Zhezhi just edges out Yinlin in terms of overall value, purely due to the fact that there is another character with Yinlin's outro skill being Changli, since she has the fusion variant. So Changli is also able to increase resonance liberation damage for any DPS character. Also, Zhezhi's outro skill enables the main DPS to ult more often, so it is able to offer 3 buffs in total in comparison to 2 from Yinlin. The outro skills aside, both Yinlin and Zhezhi are able to deal off-field damage through coordinated attacks, which makes them both extremely valuable. Yinlin is able to deal amazing burst damage with the resonance liberation and heavy attack when the forte gauge is filled, whereas Zhezhi is able to blink around the enemy and deal enormous basic attack damage. So they both have their own strengths that make them amazing sub DPS characters. So with everything considered, as of now, the best sub DPS character would be Zhezhi due to the fact that she is the best in slot sub DPS for the best main DPS characters in the game. But of course, she will be able to support nearly every other DPS, as they would still benefit from an increase in resonance skill damage along with dealing damage off field and providing resonance energy through the outro skill. Yinlin is still amazing but just doesn't have a great electro main DPS to support, and there aren't any characters that deal enormous damage that scale off resonance liberation damage. But things may change when Zhang Liao drops. Just in regards to the signature weapons, both weapons are amazing, but Zhezhi's does open her up to specialize in supporting characters that focus on dealing basic attack damage, such as Encore and Yangyang, and later on when more characters drop, Zhezhi would be amazing for them with her signature weapon. So with that, it's extremely close between Yinlin and Zhezhi long term, but as of now, Zhezhi would be the better sub DPS. That being said, having both Yinlin and Zhezhi would be ideal since they specialize in supporting completely different characters and both will have an immense amount of longevity. So if you have Yinlin, you should aim to still pick up Zhezhi if you can. But just bear in mind you likely will need to prioritize the Shorekeeper over every character. So just as long as you can ensure you will pick up the Shorekeeper, you should aim to pick up both Zhezhi now and Yinlin if you don't have her when her rerun banner drops. And with that, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Would really appreciate it if you could subscribe to the channel for more WutheringWaves content, and if you enjoyed the video, drop a like. Also drop a comment down below on who your favorite sub DPS character is. And yeah, hope to catch you guys later.